Imagine waking up one morning and realizing the world has invented something new, something unavoidable, something permanent, something every human will face forever. This is the birth of taxation, thousands of years before modern governments existed. Before income tax, before property tax, before business tax. Ancient rulers discovered a simple truth: power wasn't enough. Money was needed to sustain it. And the very first recorded tax in human history came from the world's oldest civilization. A civilization older than Babylon, older than Egypt's greatest pyramids, older than the first written laws. The civilization was ancient Mesopotamia. Specifically, the kingdom of Sumer, around 3000 BCE here, in the city of Lagash, a powerful ruler named Urukagina introduced something revolutionary. He created the first organized taxation system the world had ever seen. But why would a king, a man with absolute power, demand taxes from his people? The answer lies in the chaos of early cities. Sumerian cities were growing. Trade was booming. Temples needed resources. Armies needed food. Canals needed maintenance. And corruption was spreading everywhere. The old system of random payments and forced labor was failing. People were confused. Officials were abusing power. Religious institutions demanded more and more offerings. Urukagina wanted control. He wanted order. He wanted a system that didn't depend on the greed of local officials. So he created a regulated tax structure, a system with rules, a system with record keeping, a system that forced everyone to contribute to the kingdom's stability. But this first tax wasn't money. There was no currency yet, no coins, no bank accounts, no gold payments. The world's first tax was collected in grain, in livestock, in farm produce, in labor. Farmers paid with barley. Shepherds paid with sheep. Fishermen paid with part of their catch. Merchants paid with goods they traded. And at the center of this early tax system were the temples. Temples acted like the world's first tax offices. Priests recorded the payments. Scribes tracked every transaction on clay tablets. Every grain, every goat, every service. These clay tablets became humanity's first financial documents. The earliest ledgers, the first accounting records. All because of taxes. Urukagina's tax reform didn't just collect resources. It made the kingdom more efficient. It reduced corruption. It centralized power. It created transparency in an age where chaos ruled everything. And for the first time in human history, people understood something we still understand today. Taxes are the price of running a civilization. The moment Sumer introduced taxation, the world changed forever. Civilization suddenly had a stable engine, a predictable source of resources, a system that could grow with the population, a structure that outlived kings and dynasties. But taxes in ancient Mesopotamia were not simple. They evolved fast. They became more organized, more sophisticated, more powerful. Soon after Urukagina's reforms, taxation spread across Sumerian city-states. Each ruler adapted the idea. Each kingdom refined the system. And taxation began shaping the economy in ways never seen before. Scribes became the most important workers in government. Without them, nothing moved. They recorded harvests, measured grain output, calculated labor contributions, tracked how much each family owed, and wrote every detail on clay tablets. These tablets weren't just records. They were the birth of humanity's financial memory. The earliest bookkeeping, the earliest auditing, the earliest budgets. Taxation forced cities to become organized. Temples built storage complexes to hold grain. Governments created warehouses for livestock. Canals were dug with labor taxes. Farm fields were expanded using collective effort. Everything became systematic. Everything became documented. Everything became accountable. But taxation also expanded beyond farming. As trade routes grew, merchants faced new forms of taxes. A tax on goods brought into the city. A tax on goods sold in the market. A tax on imported materials. Even a tax on using boats on the canals. These were the world's earliest customs duties. The earliest trade taxes, the first signs of organized economic policy. And the rulers used these taxes strategically. They built stronger walls, expanded irrigation systems, funded larger armies, improved roads and waterways for commerce. Taxation became the backbone of military power. No army could march without food. No fortress could stand without workers. No kingdom could grow without resources. Through taxes, kings became stronger than ever, not just through fear, but through administration, through economic control, through the ability to plan years ahead. And as the system expanded, one thing became clear. Taxation wasn't just about taking, it was about building. Every temple, every canal, every road, every public granary, all existed because taxes made them possible. Even justice systems grew because tax-funded officials handled disputes. Even religious festivals were supported by grain collected through taxes. Even law enforcement emerged from tax-paid workers. By 2500 BCE, taxation became so advanced that Sumerian cities were essentially early versions of modern states. They had budgets. They had public works. They had military expenditures. They had welfare systems for widows and orphans. All of it funded through taxation, and while taxes helped build civilization, they also created tension. People felt burdened. Officials sometimes abused the system. Families struggled during poor harvest years. Taxation from the very beginning created the same debates we still hear today. Is it fair? Is it necessary? Is it too much? As Sumer perfected the world's first taxation system, other civilizations watched closely. They observed how taxes created power, how taxes built armies, how taxes controlled trade. And soon, the idea of taxation began spreading across the ancient world. First came ancient Egypt. By 2700 BCE, the pharaohs created a tax system so strict that missing a payment could cost a person everything. Egyptians paid taxes in grain, livestock, oils, fabrics, and even beer. The Nile River's flood levels were recorded to predict harvests because taxes depended on how much grain farmers could produce. Scribes in Egypt were feared and respected. They traveled with measuring cords. They inspected fields. They estimated the crop yield. And they calculated exactly how much each farmer owed the state. The grain collected through taxes filled massive state granaries. This wasn't just wealth, it was survival. It fed workers building pyramids. It fed soldiers protecting borders. It fed the entire kingdom during famine years. The message was clear: no tax, no pyramid, no tax, no empire. Next came Babylon. Babylon refined taxation with the famous Code of Hammurabi around 1750 BCE. This code introduced penalties for tax evasion. It defined tax categories. It regulated how officials collected payments. And it standardized economic justice. For the first time, taxation became part of written national law. Archaeologists discovered detailed tablets showing tax receipts, outstanding balances, late penalties, and interest on unpaid taxes. Babylon essentially invented the idea of bureaucratic taxation. Then came Persia, under the mighty ruler Darius the Great. He built the largest and most advanced tax empire of the ancient world. Darius divided his vast kingdom into provinces called satrapies. Each province paid taxes based on its wealth and productivity: gold, silver, horses, grain, even luxury goods. For the first time, taxation wasn't just local, it was imperial. It funded the royal road, the Persian military, and the administrative system that made Persia unstoppable. But no civilization embraced taxation as passionately as ancient Rome. Rome created dozens of tax types: a property tax, a sales tax, a slave tax, a market tax, a customs tax, a land tax, even a tax on imported spices. Rome also invented something terrifying: tax farming. Private collectors bid for the right to collect taxes from a region. If they collected more than required, they kept the extra profits. This led to corruption, fear, and abuse, but it also made Rome incredibly wealthy. Taxes funded Roman roads, Roman aqueducts, Roman baths, Roman soldiers, and the massive government machinery that ruled 3 continents. And yet, every empire learned the same painful lesson: taxes can build a civilization. Taxes can also destroy it. When taxes grew too heavy, people rebelled. When collectors became corrupt, trust collapsed. When kings demanded too much, empires weakened from inside. History shows a simple truth: taxation is the foundation of civilization, but it is also the spark of revolution. From Sumer to Egypt, from Babylon to Persia, from Greece to Rome, the world learned that taxes are not just money. They are power. They are control. They are the engine of government. And the reason governments rise and fall. Today, nearly every modern tax system can trace its roots back to those first clay tablets in Sumer, the first scribes, the first grain payments, the first controlled economy. It all began with one idea: Everyone must contribute to the society they live in. If you want more mind-blowing finance and history stories like this, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for the next deep dive.